Part 65. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 641. Which class project do you think can achieve a turnover of 20 million yuan? 20 million? The most expensive item in the maid cafe is a photo of Chibashira sensei that costs 4,000 points. And if you want to get 20 million, you need to take 5,000 photos. Of course, there are other services, but they definitely don't bring in money. The cultural festival actually only lasts for 6 hours. There is only one person in Chibashira, so it is impossible for everyone to choose to take photos, and then take more than 800 photos an hour. Therefore, a turnover of 20 million is almost unreachable. As for other classes, the 4,000 points for taking pictures in Class D is already a high price, and other classes don't dare to spend so much money on projects. Items of turnover include income from tickets, products sold and tips from guests. So, as long as the tip is reasonable, then your class is number one, Oreki said. Then there is no need to continue operating. Then Chibashira sensei doesn't have to worry anymore. Although initially I wanted to see what she looked like in a maid outfit, now, I have accomplished my goal. And the other party feels troubled, so of course there is no need to continue. Oreki-san is not the kind of person who likes to force flowers. Rather, he is actually quite a gentleman. Like Kosakalu, the other party also took the initiative. If you really gave this tip, then of course you can, Matsushita said. If it's fraud, it doesn't count. At this time, she noticed Oreki-san's dark green pupils staring at her. For it. Panasonic felt nervous for a moment. It seemed that the other party had seen through it. This is a bit embarrassing. Panasonic is one of the participants, and the turnover does not say that it will be added to the class, so it is probably divided equally among the participants. Therefore, if Oreki is really willing to give a tip of 20 million, instead of using it for the exam and then taking it back after the exam, then she can get part of it. She is very poor recently. They are obviously classmates. Horikita-san is a rich woman, and Kushida-san is not short of money. Even Sato-san, Sakura, and Kuruzawa are not short of money. Even, Hospi-san can sometimes order expensive meals. It made her wonder whether everyone had various ways to make money, whether they were spies for other classes or something. So she was also afraid of poverty. Then now, I'm tempted. It's indeed a tip, Oreki-san said. I won't take it back. After all, I have received the service of my eyes. Service. This is an exaggeration. She looks very cute in her clothes. But what about Kushida-san? Oreki asked. When he just entered the store, he saw Kushida, but she disappeared after a while. Speaking of which, when he came back from the precognitive dream, he had not had a proper talk with Kushida-san. Kushida-san's future is so delicate. Although I don't want to change it, it's almost time for Kushida-san to release her stress on a regular basis, so I have to spare some time and take her to find a place to kick the railing to vent, or listen to the trash talk she has accumulated. Kushida, she seems to have been taken away by a super cute purple-haired ponytail schoolgirl, Onodera said. Is it? Purple hair with twin tails. Oreki. By the way, isn't there only one cute purple-haired ponytail junior in this school? Obviously Yagami-san has dropped out of school, but Amasawa-senpai, does he still like to bully Kushida? And the other side. After Oreki-san left, the news that Kushida arranged to send to the students in the class began to spread. It eventually became a sensation. Among them, many adults came here. Many are staff members and even male teachers from other classes. That's right. When they heard that Chibashira, a cold-faced female colleague, actually changed into a maid outfit and acted cute, many people became interested. So I wanted to take a look. And this is why taking photos of Tbashira is so expensive. Because apart from some students, the audience is also wealthy faculty and staff. Working in this closed school, there are few places for consumption. So teachers are rich. Is that Tbashira guy finally becoming cute? Many male teachers in this school are still single, so they are also interested in single female teachers. Among them, Tbashira was quite popular. It would be better to say that he was very good looking, but he was too aloof and too old-fashioned. So, now I have the other party helping me in the maid cafe. And she also played the role of a maid herself. I felt energetic instantly. Haha, I would like to see it. Including Sakegami Suma, the homeroom teacher of Class C, also came. In addition to Tbashira, he also heard that Hashinomi Yachie also worked as a maid. He was ridiculed by Hashinomi Yachie before, so now, of course he came directly to laugh at him. Only. They had just arrived when they were stopped. Sorry, our store is closed. As an apology, everyone who comes can get a free cup of coffee, Hospi said. Only then did everyone realize that this was not a coffee shop. It was clearly a fraud. Because no one was wearing maid outfits, everyone had changed back to their uniforms. And the T-pillar. Someone with sharp eyes saw Tbashira and Hashinomi Ya both there. But Tbashira sat on the chair, while Hashinomi Ya stood. The two of them were wearing their usual work clothes. Still the same as usual. Serious and cold. I haven't become shy. Simply a fraud. Chapter 303 A Big Gift for You. Oreki-san left the maid cafe of Class D. Generally speaking, he chose Tbashira-sensei as his dark horse. Then we have to rely on Mr. Tbashira for sales. From the perspective of impact, if it is just an ordinary colleague or someone who knows Tbashira, Oreki-san would be willing to spend 10 photos for 4,000 points per photo. So she has the potential to be a dark horse. It's just that Tbashira-sensei isn't used to this situation, and forcing him to do so would be too much. And the girls look cute in their maid outfits, there is no need to show them to others. So it only cost 20 million points to complete this exam, which was not expensive. But what Oreki cares about now is that Amasawa-senpai has taken Kushida away again. And here in Amasawa and Kushida. Senior, please smile a little. The little devil with beautiful purple twin-tail hair and Kushida-san walk together on the street specially opened by the school for students to hold cultural festival activities. This also means group gathering, otherwise everyone's shops or stalls are located in different places, and no customers would like to walk so far, so getting together is the best solution. Although the third graders seem to have given up on participating in the cultural festival this time, the first and second graders were still very lively. Class D of the first grade held a shooting booth, fished for goldfish, and sold apple candies. As for second grade Class B, there was a haunted house. This is to move the celebration items here. Moreover, everyone's ticket prices are very affordable, especially the haunted house event of second year Class B. It only costs 300 private points, which is a free gift. You probably really enjoyed this cultural festival event. It looks lively. It's just that Kushida-san has no intention of hanging around. Because there is a super annoying person next to me. Senior, can you go change your clothes? I use 10,000 points to buy your 30 minutes. Of course, Senior can also refuse, but I don't care if Senior's dark history is spread. This annoying schoolgirl suddenly came to her, named her, and then said such terrible words. So, Amasawa-senpai is so annoying. Kushida had been flirted with by Yagami Takia, a bad junior, before, but Kushida clearly remembered that he didn't know any Yagami disciples. So the other party is here to make trouble. Then during the exam on the uninhabited island, the other party also dropped out. This is a pleasant thing. But Iora is gone, but Ichika Amasawa is not. This guy also knows about her dark history. Even though it's just a ploy, he knows about her dark history. Isn't that annoying? Kushida-san is already a second-year student, which means she has been taking care of her current relationship for a year. She doesn't want her current relationship to collapse. So. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 642. Now it can be regarded as a lie. I'm smiling right now, Kushida-san responded with a polite smile. I hate it. I meant Kushida's smile from the bottom of his heart, not this kind of public relations response, Ichika Amasawa said. Kushida. So can you hurry up and get out now? Kushida-senpai said in her heart. But I'm not here to bully Kushida-senpai, Amasawa, Ichika said. Don't worry, I have no interest in telling your secrets. It's better to say that I saw Kushida-senpai's profile before and thought she was really an interesting person. Is it? So this is what is written on the file? Kushida is now also a member of the student council and knows some of the rules. For example, Ichino-san's file was protected. Therefore, she was thinking about whether to spend 1 million points to protect herself. 1 million seems like a lot, but now it is the share she can pay, and even if the money is not enough, then go to Oreki to get some. But as a price, can senior sister go shopping with me? Amasawa Ichika said. Although I have been coming to this school for half a year, I still have no friends. Is it? Aren't you cute? Isn't it easy to get so-called friends as long as you use cuteness to get close to others? It's just that this schoolgirl is poisonous. Kushida didn't want to give advice to the other party. Speak of it. The two came to a stall. This is the shooting booth of Class D, first grade. The schoolgirl waved her hand, and Nanase, a schoolgirl with beautiful long golden hair, came over immediately. Probably acting as a salesperson. Of course, when doing business, you must arrange good-looking or handsome people as waiters to attract popularity. 100 private points can be used to shoot once and have 3 bullets at a time. Okay, Amasawa Ichika said. Then he looked at Kushida. Senior, you can invite me. Kushida. Did you bring her here to use her as a wallet? However, the consumption of first-year Class D was very cheap, so Kushida-san did not refuse. Prepare 10 bullets for her, Kushida-san said. Prepare to spend 1,000 points to get rid of this annoying little devil. No need, Amasawa Ichika said. Just play it 5 times. Then I'll give you 500 personal points. Nanase-senpai is an honest person. She found that neither Kushida nor Amasawa had any intention of talking to her, so she decided to keep things official. Holding the air gun, Amasawa Ichika began to take aim. The thing to shoot is the balloon. If you shoot several balloons or marked balloons, you can get different prizes. Prizes are also listed. From small dolls, some accessories, to pillows, posters and so on. But it's a pity. Bang bang bang. In the end, all Amasawa Ichika got was 2 hair ropes that might only be worth 30 personal points as a consolation prize. Did you mean it just now? But Kushida-senpai said. The way you held the gun looked decent, but you didn't hit a single balloon. It doesn't make sense. Senior sister overestimated me. Although I am a White House student, I have not learned anything about firearms, Amasawa Ichika said. Is it? White Room. As someone close to Oreki-san, Kushida still understands that the reason why she was flirted with by Yagami Takia was because of Ayanokaji's incident. Ayanokaji was a White House student, and then it seemed that he was asked to drop out of school, and other White House students were arranged to come over. So Ayanokaji or something like that, wouldn't it be better to just drop out of school? She was even affected by it. However, Ayanokaji-senpai's decision to drop out of school has failed. I may also drop out of school in the near future, Amasawa Ichika said. Oh. Then drop out of school quickly. Kushida-san feels that life has become alive again. Thank you for the drink, senior. After the two played fishing for goldfish, they came to an outdoor cafe. And Amasawa Ichika asked for freshly squeezed sugar cane juice. Although nothing is added, after the sugar cane turns into juice, it is still sweet and greasy. But is it really okay for me to borrow my senior sister like this? Amasawa Ichika said. What's the meaning? Kushida was puzzled. Because it's a cultural festival now, everyone is very relaxed, and then you can see some men and women meeting together for a date. And Kushida-san looks so cute, he must be very popular, Amasawa Ichika said. Is it? Date. Although those who have thought about this before will find that the purchase and replenishment of the school's family planning supplies has been suspended after going to a pharmacy or some stores. Therefore, if a relationship develops between men and women, they may not all drop out of school together. If you can stay in this school, there will be free tuition and living expenses. Students in Class A, for example, will have a bright future. No one wants to be dropped out of school for nothing. But as expected, this is the atmosphere. Lovers will be born. Although it may not be possible to go further, it is possible to develop hormones. I just hope to study well in school, Kushida said. After all, I am a student in Class D, and there is no hope of being promoted to another class. So in the end, I have to rely on my own academic ability to take the exam to choose a higher school. It seems reasonable and realistic. Really, Dantian said. I think Senpai seems to be very concerned about Oreki Senpai. Sometimes I would go to his dormitory, and it would take more than half an hour once I entered. I care a little bit about what you are doing. So, senior sister said she only wanted to study or something, but I don't think that's the case, senior sister Tianzi said. Kushida. Hee. What kind of stalker are you? Kushida felt dizzy. After being caught by Oreki while kicking the railing, she temporarily gave up venting her emotions, but she couldn't help but vent her inner pressure. So sometimes I would send messages to Oreki Houtarou, or I would just go to his dormitory and have a blast. Of course, by breaking out, I mean talking trash. And then, 3 times a week also continued. As a result, she was followed while traveling. What do you want? Kushida said. It's really annoying. I didn't mean to intimidate you, Amasawa Ichika said. But I have been entrusted by some people and hope to get this information. With that said, Amasawa Ichika took out a questionnaire from the pocket where he paid for his clothes, and then handed it to Kushida. Even the green pen is ready. This is. It's just an ordinary investigation, Amasawa Ichika said. Someone entrusted me to do this kind of thing, and it seems that I can get a good reward. Is it? It is indeed a good reward. Because what was displayed was a questionnaire about Oreki Houtarou. From which part he likes to wash in the shower, to what he does first thing when he wakes up in the morning. Then go to the fruits and dishes you like to eat, and then go to the scores you scored in the last exam. Similar to a survey. And there are indeed some idiots who do this kind of thing. For example, when Kushida himself collected information in the past, he used Oreki's information as a starting point, which was well received by his seniors and classmates. And now, maybe this is someone's XP. If this is just the content, Kushida said. She could still answer it. Then I'll trouble you, senior sister, Amasawa Ichika said. Kushida. Although he didn't like this schoolgirl, Kushida knew that he should bow his head first. The other party has already said that he wants to drop out of school, and if he doesn't drop out on his own, then he should entrust Oreki Houtarou to do so. Kushida-senpai has already made plans. Then started filling in. It seems that senior sister knows Oreki-senpai quite well, Amasawa Ichika said. But it's best not to mess with some of the content. For example, here. What's Oreki-senpai's favorite part? Senpai, you're going too far by filling it in, because everyone knows he's a foot control. Kushida. So Kushida filled in some random information correctly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 643. Good. Amasawa Ichika looked over the information, then smiled and took back the pen. Then I would like to thank Kushida-sen for the treat for today's cultural festival. Kushida-senpai, you are free. With that said, she stood up. He seemed to be leaving. This made Kushida feel incredible. Because Tian's, this bad schoolgirl, just wants to get information from her? However, Kushida-san seems to be insecure. Amasawa Ichika, a junior student, turned around and said. And I can give you a sense of security. With that said, she took out a small bag from her pocket. The little bag is kind of like one of those sachets. Kushida-senpai, if you want to feel safe, I think you can give it a try. She handed over the small sachet. Then this time, he took away the sugar cane juice bottle on the table. Staring at the back of Tianzi's junior classmate, Kushida didn't leave immediately. After some thought, she decided to open the sachet. Because she doesn't think this annoying schoolgirl is a good person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have threatened her with black history when he took her away from the store. So, there must be something bad left behind. Think so. Kushida opened the sachet, and there seemed to be something inside, but it wasn't fragrant leaves or lavender. Because Kushida saw a fully packaged Akamoto 01. Kushida. Does giving her a sense of security mean letting her sleep with Oreki? Wow. This schoolgirl is indeed a little devil. The little devil's schoolmate threw away the useless Kushida-senpai and continued to move forward. Just walking and walking. How long are you going to follow me? Oreki-senpai. She suddenly looked in one direction. There stood a handsome young man with pretty dark green pupils. Actually, seniors don't need to be so guarded against me, she said. I won't do anything to Kushida-senpai. No. In fact, what you said was that if he didn't follow, then you might do something to Kushida. So, do you have any plans on your schedule today? Oreki asked. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. The cultural festival lasts until 4 p.m. So now there is still 3 hours duration. Are you going on a date? The little demon schoolgirl blinked. Then he showed a dangerous smile. Senior, then you have directly cheated on me now. Do you like excitement? P.S. This month I coded 50,000 words. There is still 100,000 words short of 100,000 words. Happiness is written all over his face. Chapter 304, Sakayanagi, your boyfriend may have cheated on you, Sakayanagi, don't worry about him. Class A. The students are busy preparing fried noodles, which are paired with free milk tea, and sales are booming. After all, it is cheap and high quality. As for Sakayanagi Arisu, who finally recovered, he was certainly not participating in such hard work. As the representative of the Sakayanagi faction and the president of the student union, Sakayanagi Arisu is currently working as a member of the student union, inspecting and maintaining moral integrity. But, speak of it. And Kamuro-san came over. I just saw it. Oreki seems to have gone to the maid cafe of Class D, 2nd grade. A maid cafe? Indeed. After the project is submitted, only the student council president and the school know about it, and the students can hide their projects until today. As the student council president, Sakayanagi Yuzu certainly knew about Class D's project in advance. Rather say, her spy Kushida-san has sent her the photo. But don't worry about him, Sakayanagi said. It was already known to everyone that Oreki-san was friends with the students in Class D, so there was no need for her to care. Rather say. It should be noted that these little Baichi actually want to dress cutely to show Oreki-san. Speaking of Oreki's favorite style of maid uniform, this needs to be recorded. And the other side. Although the schoolgirl's statement was exaggerated, she still agreed to Oreki-san's invitation. So the two of them started visiting the cultural festival together. Oreki-san doesn't like excitement. But it is undeniable that this schoolgirl seems to like this kind of thing. Because while saying that senior, you cheated, the next second she directly hugged his right hand. It gives people a strong illusion that she is his girlfriend. Then I thought about who cheated on me. It seems that Senior and Kushida-senpai said the same thing, but Amasawa Ichika quickly let go of his left hand. He's the type who doesn't reject others. In other words, was the action just now actually a test of him? By the way, Kushida was tricked out of some information by Amasawa Ichika again. He was worried about her safety before, so after learning that Kushida was taken away by his schoolmate, Oreki-san immediately followed him. But please don't worry, Senior, I won't do anything to Kushida-senpai, Amasawa Ichika said. Kushida-senpai is interesting after all. Is it? But Oreki thinks that you are using Kushida as a convenient tool. By the way, are seniors good at shooting? The two came to the project for Class D, a first-year student. Shooting booth. The main thing is to shoot the balloons and get the corresponding prizes. I'm not very good at this kind of thing, Oreki-san said. That's it? But Amasawa Ichika said. Senior, is there anything you want? I can help you get it. In the booth of Class D, first grade, a schoolgirl with a golden ponytail was staring at this place with bright eyes. This is Nanae Tsubasa. She doesn't have much affection for Amasawa, but she is still very grateful to Oreki-senpai. So I want to say hello to Oreki-senpai. But now they are guests again. And wasn't Amasawa Ichika with Kushida-senpai just now? Why was there a sudden change of people? However, as an honest person, Nanae-senpai still made an offer. One shot is worth 100 personal points, Nanae said. Isn't this right? But Amasawa Ichika turned around. When Kushida-senpai entertained guests before, it was 200 points per meal. I will bear the shortfall myself, but Nanae Tsubasa said seriously. In fact, she thinks there is something wrong with Tian's. And as a student in the White House, although she was left behind, wasn't she still causing trouble? Because this is a cultural festival, the person accompanying Oreki-senpai should be Sakayanagi-senpai, not you. It seems that Senior and Nanae-san have a good relationship, and before Ichika was with a little angel like Kushida, Nanae didn't lower the price, which means that she is lowering the price now for Oreki-senpai's sake. In fact, look at it from this perspective. Ichika Amasawa feels that Sakayanagi-senpai thinks too much. She also deliberately made it clear that she could contact Oreki-senpai. But isn't this Oreki-senpai's spare tire, or potential spare tire? And who is this kind of person who robs other people's things? Ichika Amasawa also has his own 3 views. Then, after paying the points, Nanae-senpai handed over the air gun. Why are Oreki-senpai and Amasawa together today? Nanae said in a low voice. We met, Oreki said. Then I have something to do with her. That's it, Nanae said no more. In fact, Oreki saw Mr. Ayanokaji today. However, Nanae is just a student. It is too difficult to fight against such a person, and something may even happen. So after thinking about it, Oreki concealed the news that Ayanokaji Itsumai also came to the school festival today. As for the solution, Mirai Ayanokaji has already set an example. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 644. For those who have done bad things, being imprisoned is the best solution. What are you whispering about, Junior Tians came over and said. In fact, they are not talking bad about you. So, the shooting started. Since it was a stall, there were other customers, but after the last customer left, Oreki suddenly stopped holding the air gun. Because two girls' little hands were attached to his hands. Oreki looked over, and Amasawa's junior classmate was also looking at him. If you want to aim, senior's accuracy is not enough, you need this. Saying this, Amasawa-san was instructing Oreki-san. And presentable. But Nanae Tsubasa felt something was wrong. Because when Amasawa was with Kushida-senpai earlier, her shooting skills were terrible. And now can you actually teach people? And when she was thinking this, she suddenly found that the junior student Tian started to demonstrate directly. Bump. Almost without aiming, he hit the first class prize prepared by the class. Points worth 20,000. Hey, this is outrageous. Why are you so much better when you have a different companion by your side? Of course Tian's junior classmate is much more powerful. She is a student in the White House and has learned various skills there, but there are some things that she hasn't learned at all. But don't forget. Although she was born in a White House, she was not a pure born in a White House. She was a child born through in vitro fertilization to parents with excellent genes. Although she is an illegitimate daughter, she has talent. Served as a control group in the White Room. So even if you have never learned it, you can get started quickly. But bump. Senior, aim a little to the right, and yes, you hit it, Junior Tianzi taught. But Oreki thought this feeling was very familiar. It was like Sakayanagi was teaching him how to play chess. It's all about hands and not teaching. Aikyu. On the other side, patrolling the streets of the cultural festival. Kamuro-san next to Sakayanagi Yuzu sneezed. Did Kamuro-san not sleep well last night? Sakayanagi asked. I hope you can stay healthy all the time, so that you can stay with me. Can't you just worry about her? But although Kamuro followed Sakayanagi Arisu on patrol, Sakayanagi usually didn't walk very much due to physical inconveniences, but now, as expected, his body has recovered. Because although she held the cane, she walked very fast. There is a big difference from before. In other words, love can really bring incredible power like a miracle to people. But that one seems to be Oreki-san, Kamuro suddenly said. Sakayanagi looked over and saw a girl with cute purple twin tails holding Oreki Houtarou's left hand in both hands. It seemed that he was teaching the other party how to use firearms. But the opponent's hands are not honest. Seeing the familiar look, Yuzu Sakayanagi curled his lips in disdain. You're such a boring schoolgirl. She always imitates my past behavior. The divine room. Is it? But from her perspective, that schoolgirl is touching your boyfriend's hand. Speaking of which, Oreki's hands have never been carefully observed. They are obviously boys, but those hands feel quite beautiful. Kamuro-san then took a second look. So, what should we do? Kamuro said. Because from her perspective, as an outsider, it seemed that Houtaru Oreki was cheating on her, he was cheating on her. Then you, Yuzu Sakayanagi, don't care? Although Oreki seems to be in contact with other girls, and Sakayanagi is indeed useless, but the schoolgirl. Don't worry about it, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. This is the bait I put out. Let her be happy first, Sakayanagi said. She'll be crying soon. Oreki's energy is too strong. Energy. This has nothing to do with you, Kamuro-san, Dan Sakayanagi said. Okay, it's time for us to inspect another place. The divine room. Sakayanagi is so annoying. However, when she saw Sakayanagi moving forward, she quickly followed him. Almost everyone thinks she is Sakayanaga's dog, but it would be strange if Sakayanagi really moves and then she doesn't move. Because the first, second, and third prizes have already been won, but Oreki didn't ask for any prizes, otherwise Nanae-senpai would not have any prizes to support her appearance. In fact, it was originally impossible to win the first or second prize. The classmates hoped to do tricks in the balloons. But unfortunately, it is the honest Nanae schoolgirl who is looking after the stall. So this kind of manipulation does not exist. So I hope her stall can last longer. So, where do you want to go next? Oreki asked. In fact, when he came into contact with Amasawa-san, she took Kushida away. He was worried that Kushida-san would talk trash to him after being bullied, so Oreki-san tracked and intercepted her. Certainly. There is another reason too. Because he had a precognitive dream, he knew that Amasawa's junior schoolmate would have a child named Now with him 10 years later. And Tianzi, a junior student, even chose to drop out of school when she was still in Yuchin High School. The saying is that I hope to go out to school and see the children, and then raise the children by myself. Although the other party is born in a White House, it is very hard to raise a child alone for 10 years. So Oreki is going to make some compensation or subsidies. For example, let's deal with economic issues. Because a large amount of points have been collected from this school, and with the addition of superpower point cheating plugins, money problems are no longer an issue. So Oreki prepared some point cards and was thinking about how to give them to her. Of course, if she leaves school early, she can exchange it for cash. It's just that this topic is not easy to discuss, because suddenly giving money or something, doesn't it feel like being a sponsor? So Oreki dropped the subject. I can go anywhere. For me, everything outside is different from the White House. It's a new experience. Just like now, I can walk on the street with my seniors, which is something I have never experienced in White House. As she said this, she gently touched her smooth hair. Then he looked sideways. Looks quite cute. For it. Has it become so sensational today? Wait a moment. Oreki suddenly thought of the way his schoolmate held his hand just now, and then he recalled Sakayanagi-san. And the current schoolgirl seemed to have learned the essence of Kushida and know how to show their cute side. That is to say. Are you trying to attack me? Houtarou Oreki said suddenly. Is Amasawa Ichika trying to conquer Oreki-san? He was confessed by Sato-san and liked by Kurosawa. Then he gained experience from Kushida-san and was pursued by Ichinos. So he understands. What does it feel like to be pursued by someone for strategy? And the current Tianzi schoolgirl has this kind of atmosphere. Senior, why do you think so? But Tian's junior student maintained a calm attitude. Or, it's the senior himself who realizes my side. In other words, senior is interested in me. Is it? You are cute. In terms of cuteness, you may not be as good as Kosake Anagi, but you are still number one in the first grade. It is indeed very lethal. It's perfectly reasonable to have a little confidence and narcissism. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 645. But I have been pursued by others, Oreki-san said. You give me this vibe now. Is it? So are you being pursued by Ichino-senpai? Amasawa-senpai asked. His girlfriend is Sakayanagi Yuzu, but you said it was Ichinos who pursued him. It seems that this schoolgirl knows a lot. So, the next stop for the two of them was the haunted house in Ichino's Hanami's class. Ichino-san is responsible for pretending to be a ghost and scaring passing couples. In this cultural festival exam, if you win, you will be rewarded with a class evaluation score of 100 points, and if you fail, you will not be punished. Therefore, what is more important than getting scores is enjoying the hard-earned kind test. Certainly. For the students in Class B, they have been trembling with fear and trying hard to keep up so as not to be overtaken by the lower classes. Yes. There is no desire to hit the upper class. It is better to say that all the students in Class B understand it and cannot surpass it. So, might as well spend a good time on campus. So, Class B is really enjoying campus life this time. Then, I'll leave it to you later, itchy nose, said Maize, the internet guru in the class. She is responsible for playing Ghost. But now I want to go to the toilet, so I asked Itchy Nose to take my place. No problem, Itchy Nose is a well-known archangel, so of course she would agree to such a small favor. And it's just covering it with a white cloth and pretending to be a ghost to scare people. While thinking about this, a group of couples from the front had already arrived. Chapter 305. He wants to use money to throw me down. Ichino's class is working on a haunted house project. The fee is only 200 points, which is not very expensive. It is better to say that this is charity. However, everyone hopes to have a cultural festival similar to that of other schools, so there will be no requirements on fees. There is nothing to stop this request. After all, although I am a student in Class B, it seems that the whole class has no desire to advance to a higher class. It is better to say that I can graduate from this school with everyone. Having a good campus life is everyone's pursuit. But I have to pretend to be a ghost and scare people. Itchy Nose took over the job of Amigo-san. Just pretend to be a ghost and come out to scare people. And she is now ready, standing in a specially reserved corner. In addition to creating a dark and scary atmosphere, the haunted house also needs some props and real people pretending to be ghosts. Probably hearing the sound, Itchy Nose rushed out. She was draped in white cloth and had a ghostly turban on her head. But it's not scary at all, Itchy Nose-san. The person she met was an acquaintance or her friend. And it's a man and a woman. And Itchy Nose noticed that they were holding hands together. Is this the kind of relationship they have? Because these two people usually quarrel, they seem to be the type to hate each other. As a result, now, the hands are holding together. Itchy Nose has a lot of friends, and many of them are from other classes. It turns out that the people who usually seem to hate each other are actually lovers. This is really surprising. And while thinking about this, she heard a sound, and it seemed that another couple was coming. Ugga! Itchy Nose rushed out immediately, but he almost couldn't stop the car before he rushed out. Because the customers who appeared from the corner were also acquaintances. And she seemed to notice the male guest's dark green pupils looking at her. That. Nothing at all. Itchy Nose said quickly. Because the person who appeared in front of her was none other than Oreki-san. Since the last time she borrowed money, she has had some shadows towards Oreki-san, as if she has suddenly grown up. I feel very embarrassed. However, Itchy Nose also noticed that Oreki-san was also bringing a junior girl with him. Although he was bringing a junior girl with him, their hands. Well, to be precise, Oreki-san's left hand was held by the two hands of the schoolgirl. Such an intimate gesture. In other words, this is the scene of Oreki-san's cheating. Is there really no problem with this? When she borrowed points from Oreki-san before, she paid the price, and to a certain extent, she betrayed President Sakayanagi. But now. But he saw Oreki-san cheating on her openly. If you are worried about cheating, don't be nervous, but the schoolgirl next to Oreki suddenly said. Because I have permission from Sakayanagi-senpai. It's better to say that she found me specially. Oh, that's how it is. Itchy Nose nodded. By the way, why does Sakayanagi want to green himself? Itchy Nose felt a little disconnected. It's just you playing ghost, Oreki said. Well, the classmates who passed by said it wasn't scary, Itchy Nose said. It's beautiful after all, Oreki said. So how can it be scary? Itchy Nose let out an exclamation, because he probably didn't expect to be appreciated at this time. Her cheeks were slightly red, while Amazawa's junior classmate stayed aside and watched. In fact, this was also where she was confused. Therefore, Oreki-senpai has several spare tires, so why would Sakayanagi-senpai arrange for her to come over? The ghost played by Itchy Nose is not scary, but she herself is quite cute. And it's still a top job. So Oreki invited the other party, by the way. But it's a pity that she is an archangel and there are many people who want to play with her, such as classmates. There is no way around this. Then, the next step is to get down to business. Oreki-san looked at the twin-tailed schoolgirl who came out of the haunted house and sat quietly at the outdoor table. So, Sakayanagi arranged for you to come close to me, Oreki said. The result I got after analysis is probably this, Amasawa Ichika said. When Oreki-senpai asked whether she came to attack him, Amasawa Ichika did not deny it. But why did Sakayanagi arrange for people to attack him? Oreki was a little confused. However, Sakayanagi-san, who was obviously proactive before, has been rejecting him for the past 2 days. This also needs to be considered. But now it is a legitimate reason to give the point card to the schoolgirl. This is a point card. Oreki-san handed over the specially prepared point card from his pocket. Although I don't know what else Sakayanagi will arrange for you to do. But I hope you can tolerate her little willfulness. Of course, this is a reward, Oreki said. That means you won't refuse, Oreki-senpai, even if you know someone is trying to attack you. Yes, Oreki-san said calmly. If you want to drop out and leave the school early, you can ask me to exchange your point card into cash in advance. I bought the permission to exchange cash with the school in advance. It's really annoying. Why should I leave school early? But the schoolgirl looked unhappy. Obviously this place is very interesting, I quite like it. So I don't want to leave the school so early. And the reputation of dropping out is not good at all, Amaze said. Is it? But in the precognitive dream, you dropped out of school faster than Sakayanagi. Or dropped out of school while still pregnant with the child. The thought of this is killing me. Because this means, in the past, because he predicted that Sakayanagi would drop out of school due to pregnancy, he had to prepare, but now, does the schoolgirl also need to prepare? Oreki-san still has some moral integrity. While thinking about this, I noticed a man and a woman walking in front of me. And it's not unfamiliar. They are the juniors and senior girls in Class C of the first grade. Utsunomi Yoriku and Tsubaki Sakurako. But they are not Class C of the first grade. Now they have been promoted to Class A. It can be said that they are the legends of this school, but the price is also high. First of all, I owe Oreki-san a bill of 20 million. Then various payments were made to be exploited. It's like giving up everything to gain fame. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 646. Oreki felt a little pity because although they were promoted to Class A, the quality of many students could not keep up, so the school would probably use some tricks to get them down. But they know nothing. But the two people now seem to be talking. So, why do you want to specifically obtain information about Ayanokaji-senpai from second year Class D? Utsunomi Yoriku asked. That kind of senior should drop out of school, Tsubaki Sakurako said. I can't forgive that man. My sister and he were born in the same facility, but she has collapsed and has mental problems. She seems to have stopped at the age of 9, and my father invited Ayanokaji to come, hoping to improve my sister's condition. But Ayanokaji came, but he didn't have any emotions and left directly. My sister's situation became even worse, Sabeki Sakurako said. Is it? It is said that the white room where Ayanokaji-san lives is really poisonous. Fortunately, in the future, when Oreki-san goes there, it has been terminated. But I always felt that Utsunomiya and Sabeki Sakurako were trying to control their class, and it turned out that they had such a purpose. After Bai Fangsheng left, there are still Bai Fangsheng's family members here. At 1600 hours, the cultural festival ends. Next is the task of the student union and staff. They need to go to different projects to count the students' turnover and finally make a ranking. The turnover includes ordinary sales, as well as rewards and tips from customers. The person in charge of statistics seemed to have carefully confirmed it several times when he was in Class D of the second grade. Then the amount of turnover was written down. Because the other party's normal turnover is very small, but the tips from customers are outrageous. A full 20 million points. By the way, which customer can be so heroic? Certainly. There are no such arrogant guests in Class C of the second grade, because Shiina-san finally decided to keep the points card and not report it to the class. So this money is for her exclusive use. Certainly. It's not that excessive. She still gave some of it to Ibuki-san. Oreki-san gave her a 5 million point card, so she gave out 10% of the limit. It is said that Horikita-san and Oreki-san were in this category when they acted together in the past. Naturally, although Ibuki-san was surprised and even thought that he might have taken too much, Hiri felt a little conscience-stricken at that time. At 1700 hours in the afternoon, members of the student union went to the bulletin board to update the test results of this cultural festival. The first place in Grade 2 Class D add 100 class evaluation scores. Second place in Grade 2 Class A add 100 class points. Third place first year Class A add 100 class points. Fourth place in second year Class C add 100 class points. Fifth place in first grade Class C add 50 class points. Sixth place second year Class B add 50 class points. Seventh place in first year Class B add 50 class points. Eighth place in first year Class D add 50 class points. Number 9, Class D, third year. Number 10, Class B, third year. Number 11, Class A, 3 years. Number 12, Class C, third year. From the results, second year Class D finally topped the list because of the huge tip, while Class A, where Oreki-san is located, although it came in second place under the operation of Katsuragi-san, it still received a class evaluation of 100 points. Points are awarded. Then the Longyuan class relied on poor sales and got 100 class evaluation points for nothing, and then there were sales, which meant it made money. Although Ichino's and Nanase's projects are very cheap, the third-year students collectively failed, so they can get points as long as they participate. What a pity. On the bulletin board, there are also first-year students watching the results. Our class is falling behind again. When can I return to Class A again? Several former students from Class A were checking their scores, and then a boy looked at the purple-haired girl with twin tails who came with him. Teens, do you want to be the class representative? This is the consideration of this former class representative of Class A. They are the first class to lose their spot in Class A less than 3 months after enrolling. Very shameful. But it was also helpless. Class C, who had been chasing after them, was as strong as if they had taken medicine. However, during the exam on the uninhabited island, they also discovered a fierce guy in their class. That was Amasawa Ichika in front of him. The scoring was very fierce, but it was a pity that he gave up in the end due to injury. However, it is already recognized by everyone that Tian-san is a useful talent. And it is said that some people saw her talking to the student council president, so if she can enter the student council, she may be able to get more information or help. It's just that the other party doesn't seem that interested in class competition. That's why the class representative wants to invite the other party. If the other party is willing to contribute, then he is even willing to give up his position. Only Amasawa-kun, the class representative, noticed that Amasawa Ichika seemed to be absent-minded. "It's okay," Amasawa Ichika said. Actually, something happened. Because when checking her results, she used her mobile phone to scan the point card given by Oreki-senpai. This was the point card that allowed her to tolerate Sakae-anaga-senpai. This is a sign of Oreki-senpai's love for Sakae-anaga-senpai. Probably similar to cleaning up a mess. But when she looked at the amount, she thought otherwise. Because dip. QR code recognition, the quota is 60 million. Ichika Amasawa. What kind of mess needs to be paid 60 million? So she quickly confirmed that Oreki-senpai might not be acting like this for Sakae-anaga-senpai. But he wants her, right? And he also paid such a large amount. Was he trying to use money to knock her down? What a terrible person. Our class won first place. There are also students in Class D, second grade, looking at the results. This is a natural result, but for ordinary students, they are just taken away from the 5,000 points issued by the school. But in this case, if the class evaluation score is increased by 100, will the living expenses next month increase again? In fact, the correct statement should be that if there is so much turnover, does everyone have a share? However, in the previous unanimous voting test, they voted away classmate Chi, so everyone's living expenses increased by 50,000 points. Now they are in the mood and have not considered this aspect at all. And the current situation of the maid cafe is similar to this. Encountered the problem of how to handle turnover. The turnover was 20.013 million private points. Oreki won the award for us, Horikita said. So these 20 million. As long as Oreki-san is not around, Horikita-san is the same as usual. But it would be against the rules if I return it again, Kurosawa said after checking his phone. So, we are going to divide it equally, Sato-san said. Kayaki Matsushita. But Matsushita-san remained quiet. Who doesn't know that the two of you usually have a good relationship with Oreki-san, and now that you say this, you probably mean it because of Oreki-san. Because if they can be separated, then, she might also be able to be picked up. If I had known earlier, I would not have come to Class D, and my life would have been extremely miserable. However, now that I have voted for classmate Chi, my living expenses are barely enough. However, I still want to save more first, so if I can get part of it, then it is acceptable to come here to help this time. Let's allocate it according to merit, Hospi said. The main reason is that Chibashira-sensei is willing to come, so the largest part of the share should belong to Chibashira-sensei. After all, Chibashira is everyone's dark horse. No one denies this. But no, this is very strange. It seems like Oreki-san came here specifically for me. Teacher Chibashira waved his hand quickly. No, in fact, he really came for you. Kushida-san said in his mind. Because she first took a photo of Chibashira and sent it over, and then the other party came over. Otherwise, we will come later. It made Kushida wonder if Oreki's XP needed to be updated again. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 647. Chapter 306, Don't you feel guilty even if you cheat? When Oreki-san asked Kurosawa what to do with the tip he gave him for personal points, he directly chose to let them divide it among themselves. They are all girls I know and are familiar with, so there is no need to skimp on this part. According to Huey in the precognitive dream, in the future, the company he asked her to manage will also be involved in similar projects. It exists to distribute money to the girls involved. So there's nothing wrong with trying it now. After all, now, unlike before, there is no shortage of money. Rather say, because of superpowers, it is easy to get money, so there is no need for girls to worry about it. However, this is the result. After paying a large amount of points, Oreki-san's account returned to life with only about 10 million points left. But, speaking of which, this is the cultural festival. After the cultural festival, in the evening, Oreki-san was invited by President Sakayanagi. To be precise, after the cultural festival, the two started dating in the shopping street. Generally speaking, although the cultural festivals held by students are fun, the shopping street is more professional, whether it is to play or buy things. And perhaps the greatest significance of a cultural festival date is to declare sovereignty. But this was already done after Sakayanagi Arisu took office as the student council president. Although I felt very free and easy at the time. And now I feel like it's useless. But Kamuro-san is always around, nagging Oreki-san about his cheating and cheating. So Sakayanagi-san exercised her rights as a girlfriend. Speaking of it, she said, "Some classmates saw you hanging out with different girls during the cultural festival /. If you don't know, then you might think you are a couple," Sakayanagi said. In other words, he was really a little angry. Oreki paid attention to Sakayanagi's condition. But this anger is of no use. Because in her precognitive dream about the future, she completely accepted the situation around him calmly, and even teased him from time to time about going to see lawyer Horikita. It shows that she is not that possessive person. "I'm following Ichika Amasawa," Oreki said. She seemed to have called Kushida away. Considering the threat she posed to Kushida, I contacted her after letting Kushida escape. "Is it? Then you are very kind to Kushida. By the way, is Kushida actually afraid of Ichika Amasawa?" For those who have read the records of the whole grade, Sakayanagi learned about Kushida's past from the files. The class of Kushida Junior High School collapsed directly. From teachers to students, they were absent from school for a month. Then the person who caused this incident was Kushida. Platycodon. There is no specific description of how this resulted. However, it can be confirmed from the words that Kushida-san is very destructive, but in actual performance, he is completely invincible. He was manipulated by Oreki-san, and then also by Amasawa-san. And this time the cultural festival even needs Oreki-san to save. Kushida-san is really useless. He was criticizing his spies and colleagues unceremoniously in his heart, but Sakayanagi-san kept a smile on his face. "Amasawa Ichika," Yuzu Sakayanagi said. "This schoolgirl really needs attention." So Oreki-san looked at Sakayanagi. "Why did you specially arrange for Ichika Amasawa to come close to or even attack me?" Oreki asked directly. Sakayanagi snored. Although Sakayanagi wanted to exercise his authority as a girlfriend, he asked Oreki-san to restrain himself. But now she was being questioned. "Just that kind of thing. Maybe it's because of Amasawa-senpai's physical strength," Arisu said. "Although my body has recovered somewhat, I am still unable to perform in bed." Then, did you just think of looking for someone with good physical fitness to replace you? Ichika Amasawa comes from Shurifang, and Shurifang's basic training includes physical training. So her physical ability is beyond the average of everyone. Therefore, Sakayanagi chose someone who was beyond ordinary people to take on the responsibility. But Oreki felt that Sakayanagi was obviously very enthusiastic, but when he was also very enthusiastic, she gave up. And now he says that he is too strong. Just this, it cannot be denied. Because his physique has been improved, his physical fitness and energy have improved at the same time. Previously, considering Sakayanaga's health, he could only restrain himself. But after confirming that her body is cured, there is no need to restrain herself. The burden turned out to be too strong for her. I made you worry, Oreki said. No, Sakayanagi said. In fact, I feel speechless. Because her behavior was outrageous, as if she was looking for a mistress for her boyfriend, but her boyfriend not only didn't feel ashamed at all, but accepted it as a matter of course. That is to say. Sure enough, that's the case. In Houtarou's heart, there is no such thing as single-mindedness or devotion. This made Yuzusaka Yanagi sigh lightly. Because if she hadn't slept in from the beginning, during the vacation, then Oreki-san wouldn't have dated other girls, let alone lost her first kiss with a loser like Sato. Then he realized that it seemed that other girls were fine too. The result made her so green. Life is not easy, Kosakalu sighed softly. But while she was thinking this, she saw Oreki reaching out to her. The two of them are now in the shopping street. And Oreki seemed to want to hold hands with her. As long as there is no change in the fact that he still desires her. A smile appeared on Sakayanagi Arisu's face again. She held Oreki-san's left hand. Accepted the other person's body temperature. Of course, there is no need to take the temperature tonight. In this way, the cultural festival is over. But there was a slight hiccup. That was when Oreki-san sent Yuzusaka Yanagi back to the dormitory and found that his cell phone had received a message. There is no note for the other party's number. But Oreki knew the other person's number. Because this number is saved in Horikita's mobile phone. And this person is Chibashira Sae. Oreki-san, as expected, I can't accept the 10 million points by Chibashira. Is it? It looks like the girls have done their share of points. Chibashira is the main dark horse of the maid cafe. Although it ended in the end, the fact that she is the core of attraction has not changed, so she is distributed according to her work. Chibashira deserves the lion's share. As a result, why not now? Let's meet at the railing next to the lake. After some thought, Oreki-san replied to the message. The railing was Kushida-san's secret base, but because too many people came, she stopped going there. But she could choose to take pictures of the railing there, which meant that few people would come, so it was indeed a good place to talk. In this way, Oreki turned around and headed to the railing. But when Oreki arrived at his destination, he found that someone had already arrived. It was a young woman with beautiful long black hair tied into a single ponytail. In good shape. Unlike the shy mature elder sister in the cafe at the cultural festival today, Chibashira is now back to being an ordinary female teacher. Her back was turned to Oreki, her left hand pressed on the railing, as if she was thinking about something. Watch this back. This can be considered a revisit to the old place. When receiving a mission to gain the superpower of time travel, Oreki-san went back to 9 years ago. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 648. Then I saw a similar scene. The young girl at that time, Chibashira, pressed her left hand on the railing and sighed. It seems that when you are about to reach your goal, you start to worry about gains and losses. And now she is an adult. As a result, Chibashira gave the impression of no growth at all. Still pressed against the railing alone, feeling mixed. But Chibashira-sensei. Oreki came from not far away. Then he said to Chibashira, who was standing alone. Although it is very quiet here, if the wind blows all the time, your body will be damaged. Chibashira. Oreki, you're here. Chibashira said so. But Oreki found that she felt a little lonely when her back was turned to others, and when she turned around, she seemed a little shy. That's right. She usually looks aloof, but today she changed into a maid outfit. Then he was witnessed by the young man in front of him. Well, I'm here, Oreki said. but you were so thinly dressed, and you were exposed to the sea breeze for what seemed like a long time. Oreki-san said. So, let's hold hands. I'm passing on my body temperature to you. Adult Chibashira. Adult Chibashira. This is. Chibashira looked at Oreki's stretched out left hand in astonishment, seemingly at a loss. Aren't you embarrassed to accept my points? Oreki said. So let's make some extra payments. And. Oreki said. You seem to be preparing to take care of this class of students and then leave the school. Whether you are starting a business or working for yourself, you need an economic foundation. In other words, the 10 million she is currently allocated is actually arranged by the other party. It's just only then did Chibashira realize that Oreki giving her money was not that simple, but he had thought about it carefully. Only. She planned to leave with only this class of students, but she never told the students about this. So how did Oreki know? But Oreki had already extended his hand to her, and it seemed rude to refuse him again. Then Chibashira also extended his left hand. After all, if you put yourself in the other party's shoes, you can give him money, but then you can't even shake his hand, right? Then she stretched out her hand and held it with Oreki's. And thinking about it? Chibashira. Chibashira's eyes widened unexpectedly because my body felt incredible, warm and comfortable. And this incredible feeling seems to have been experienced many years ago. And that time. You lack confidence. So, let's hold hands. I pass on my power to you. It seemed that it was also here that a classmate with a low sense of presence said this to her. Then she originally thought there was nothing special about shaking hands, but she unexpectedly discovered that her body became strange, comfortable, and warm. Chibashira. I always feel like my past memories have come back to life. What's wrong? Oreki noticed Chibashira's expression. It looked like she was wearing a little thin clothing just now, so she used her recovery ability. Then her body should be back to a problem-free state. But Chibashira's golden pupils were staring at Oreki-san. Watch his face, his dark green pupils, and his slightly sexy neck that opens his collar. No matter how you look at him, he is a handsome guy. Although I looked at Oreki-san, I always felt like I had seen him somewhere before. Then I have experienced this feeling of shaking hands. After the cultural festival, which was like fishing for fish, the students at school have become accustomed to special examinations. So on the first of the new month, after obtaining the living expenses of private points distributed according to the class evaluation scores from the school, the students came to the class, attended the class meeting, and then looked at their class teacher. Only. Chibashira-sensei. Class D, 2nd grade, is here. As a second-year student, I have already passed no less than 10 special exams. Then I got used to the announcement of the rules for special exams starting on the 1st of every month. During the class meeting, students and teachers were already in their places. But the students looked at the teacher on the podium curiously. Because Chibashira-sensei seemed to be a little distracted. This was confirmed in the last unanimous special examination. At that time, Chibashira-sensei was not in the right state. But there was nothing we could do about it. As a teacher, she knew the test questions in advance, and then she also knew that she would be selecting students based on their class evaluation scores and voting. This kind of thing is difficult to choose. So although he usually looks cold, Chibashira-sensei may actually be a gentle person. Sorry, Chibashira, who was standing at the podium, quickly came to his senses. Actually, it stems from last night's dream. Yesterday I dreamed about my school days. At that time, it seemed that it was the eve of a special examination that was unanimously held. She also came to the railing of the lake as she had done some time ago. But I was comforted by a classmate. At that time, I always felt that my heart was throbbing. But I can't remember the other person's face at all. The only impression I have is that the student chose to drop out of school on his own to gain points for the class during the special exam that was unanimously unanimous. However, unfortunately, everyone did not fulfill their agreement with him. In the end, I graduated as Class B. But neither she nor Hashinomi Yachie had forgotten the name of this classmate. Slightly regrettable. But just last night, she dreamed about this classmate who had a low sense of presence but was very responsible. In the dream, his face seemed to start to become clearer. The other party has dark green pupils, black fluffy hair, and sexy collarbones. But isn't this Oreki Houtarou? So, how could such a thing be true? Probably because I think about it day by day and dream about it at night. It was Oreki who held her hand. She was a little shaken. Then Chibashira clicked on the electronic blackboard. Because of Mr. Tsukijo's arrogance, the school's hardware configuration has been improved, and now the blackboard has been replaced with a display screen, which is also touch screen. So very convenient. P.S. It's the end of the month, please ask for a blade. Ying ying ying. Chapter 307 The Sports Festival begins, a new sports festival, this time for yourself. Because it is the first, the class will be in session. The head teachers of other classes are also notifying the rules of this special examination. First of all, congratulations on completing the cultural festival project. Here in Class A, Teacher Mashima said. Then he clicked on the display screen, showing the current class evaluation scores. Grade 2 classes scored 3,668.5 points. Grade 2 Class B 1,751.5 points. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 649. Grade 2 Class C 1092 points. Class D, Grade 2, scored 688 points. This is the result after the extra points from the cultural festival and the last special test where everyone was unanimous. The students in Class D at that time chose to sacrifice their classmates in exchange for living expenses. Then the class evaluation scores were updated. Because the cultural festival and the special examination that everyone unanimously held were in the same month, there was no immediate change of class. But now, it has started to look different. The class began to change. Starting today, the second-year students of Class D will return to Class C, which Jyunji took them to. And the score has also been greatly improved. However, the position in Class A is very stable, so Teacher Mashima has nothing to say, and then starts the explanation of this special examination. Then there's the exam for the sports festival at the end of this month. Similar to last year, this time's sports festival also has grade-level scrimmage assessments. Then, this is the exam rule. With that said, Majima stepped aside slightly so that everyone could see the electronic display screen that served as a blackboard. Sports Festival Overview and Rules. It is a sports festival that consists of various events and is participated by all grades. Time, all day on the 26th. The time is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., rest time from noon to 1 p.m. Students participate in free choice projects to earn points and compete for overall scores as a class. Rule 1. Each student will receive 5 points at the beginning of the sports festival. 2 students participating in the sports festival must participate in 5 different types of competitions. 3. It is free to register for various competitions. As long as you participate, you will get 1 point as a participation prize. 4. The winners will receive additional points based on the competition items. 5. To register for the 6th and subsequent competitions, you can participate by paying 1 point each time, you cannot get 1 point as a participation prize. 6. Each person can participate in up to 10 competitions. 7. If the sports festival ends with less than 5 competitions, all points earned will be forfeited. 8. Unless there are compelling reasons, you will lose 2 points if you do not participate in a registered game or abstain. 9. Students who have finished the competition should help cheer in several designated areas. Almost as soon as the rules came out, Oreki-san, who was sitting in the seat, understood that this sports festival exam should be called an assessment for each individual. Because every student has a score and uses the score to participate in the project, there are the same requirements as last year. But there is more freedom than last year, there are more events that can be participated in, and it seems to be more focused on individuals as a unit. Then the content continues to appear on the screen. And Mashima-sensei said, the competition events this time can be roughly divided into 2 types. The first is what is called the basic competition. This refers to a competition that one person can participate in. All basic competitions have fixed rewards. The first place will get 5 points, and the third place will get 5 points. Second place gets 3 points, third place gets 1 point, and 1 point as a participation bonus. And the other one is the team competition called the special competition. This is a competition that can only be participated by 2 or more people. The remuneration for the team competition is set relatively high, and all members of the participating teams will receive points equally. The remuneration is attractive, but on the contrary, it requires teamwork and the necessary skills. Disadvantages include being more time-consuming than projects for these. The display shows the 100-meter dash, 200-meter hurdles, 2-person 3-legged race, and tug of war. A large portion of these are projects from last year. But there are many projects this year. Basketball, tennis, table tennis, dodgeball, swimming, high jump, long jump and more. And some restrictions were also imposed. Note 1, students have the freedom to participate in projects, but they cannot participate in projects of the clubs they have applied for. Note 2, team competitions are all grade-level scrimmages. This is a bit like restricting the development of those sports students in this project. Then there are rewards and punishments that you care about. First of all, this time there will be no red or white groups. Although it's a grade scrimmage in the group event. But the points are calculated separately. The 3 grades are calculated separately, and the points obtained by the students in their own class in this sports festival are the standard. Among the grades, the first place class will be rewarded with 100 class evaluation points, the second place class will be rewarded with 50 class evaluation points, the third place class will be awarded 50 points, and the fourth place class will be deducted 150 points. Teacher Mashima paused here, seemingly letting the students think for themselves. And Oreki thought about it. No matter how good or bad your performance is, as long as you participate in the sports festival and finish the game, you will receive the 5 points given in the initial stage and the 5 points of the participation award, for a total of 10 points. If a student is unable to meet the minimum necessary requirements due to some accident, 10 points will be reduced for each such person. Of course, this kind of thing no longer exists in Class A. And there are 40 students in Class A. 1 person dropped out and another entered. Still relatively flat. But each person's basic score is only 5 points, and everyone is required to participate in 5 projects, which is a total of 10 points. It may not seem like much, but don't forget that there is value in having more people. But you also have to think about how to use the points. Because the school compulsorily requires 5 projects, but for the 6th project, you need to pay 1 point as the registration fee to participate. Then only by ranking in the front row can you get points. If you fail to perform well, the registration fee of 1 point will be deducted. So this is a risk, more like a stage prepared for some top students. Really? Mr. Mashima continued to press the display. Then new text appeared. And this time the sports festival is also divided into individual rewards, Teacher Mashima said. Individual competition rewards, year level, male and female separately. The first place will receive 2 million private points or a transfer ticket, restrictions apply. Second place private points, 1 million points. Third place private points, 500,000 points. Among them, the reward of private points is no longer novel, but the other reward of class transfer tickets is concerning. Teacher, sure enough. Katsuragi-san asked. What does this transfer paper mean? Probably, students can choose to transfer classes, Teacher Mashima explained. If the student with the highest personal score gives up the 2 million point reward, the school will give him the right to transfer to another class. You can literally go to the class you want. But there are limits. That only lasts 1 semester. It will take effect in the next semester, and then last for 1 semester. After the end of 1 semester, you will passively return to the original class. So it can be understood as the experience card of other classes. Is it? Other class experience cards. So what's the point? Because if the lower class gets the first place in points, you can choose to use the class transfer ticket to go to class A. But in the end, I have to go back to my original class. Then he is still a student in the original class. So isn't this useless? Then it is better to choose 2 million private points. However, it cannot be understood this way. Changing classes is a bit like taking a semester tour. Moreover, there is still value for a sophomore. First, if you come to class A of the 2nd grade, wouldn't it be great? Because although you only use the transfer paper, as long as you are a student in class A, you can get the evaluation score of this class. The current class evaluation score of 2nd grade class A is 3,668.5 points. In other words, you can get 360,000 personal points every month. It will be almost 2 million in 6 months. So not only did I get 2 million personal points, but I also came to class A, where I could more or less learn something and gain some experience. The exam rules are over. Teacher Mashima leaves time and space to his students. If students from other classes use transfer papers, come over. And Hashimoto-san said. Then are 2 more students coming to our class. Will it affect the current status? Hashimoto said. Because the calculation of scores is separate for men and women, there are a total of 6 people who can get the transfer papers, and there is 1 boy and 1 girl in each grade. Generally speaking, if you get a class transfer ticket, you must come to class A. So Hashimoto is not wrong in saying this. You can't say that, but Sakayanagi said proactively. Because if there is an unreasonable student who dropped out of school and the exam is unanimous again, then you can choose the student who used the transfer paper, right? Is it? The students around him were stunned for a moment, then reacted. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 650. Right. Is there such a good thing? In the last unanimous special examination, their class chose to give up the 500-point class evaluation score reward, and then kept the option of being expelled. It still looks a bit pity. But I don't want to be dropped out of school. But if a student from another class comes, doesn't it mean that you can choose the other person without any psychological burden? At this moment, the boy who was promoted from the lower class was sitting in the back seat. The other person has blonde hair and red pupils. At the same time, the figure is quite well proportioned and explosive. This is Kojinji Rokusuke. Jyuan Temple. It is said that the listener is also interested. But Gao Yuanji's classmate is quite clear. In other words, I hope he won't take advantage of this competition. Otherwise, it is easy to become the target of attack. After all, this school has many special examinations and various dropouts, so trying your best to cooperate with Class A is the best way to protect yourself. But Hashimoto's reply just hit Takaharaji-san. Sakayanagi Arisu has no interest in them. Instead, he said to his neighbor, "What do you think of the sports festival, Oreki-san?" At last year's sports festival, she had to abstain due to her health. Now that her body is recovering, she wants to run on the sports field and let Oreki-san see her. Only. It is undeniable that Oreki Houtarou, who was able to keep pace with the student council president last year, is very likely to be the first in this sports festival. "I'm thinking about something," Oreki-san said. Although class transfer papers don't mean much to first-year and second-year students. But if a third-year student obtains a transfer certificate, it can be used in the next semester. And next semester will be the graduation of the third grade. In other words, for the third graders, the transfer papers mean that they can really be promoted to Class A. So, the third graders will probably be crazy about this exam. Is it? So the points accumulated by Nagamo-senpai can be taken over. Sakayanagi-san thought of this. And the same notification has started in other grades. This sports festival may be a hope for you. The third grade teacher is more realistic. The head teacher of Class B of the third grade is a capable female teacher with short hair. If you can get first place among men and women in this sports festival, then you can go to Class A. As she said this, she glanced in the direction of Kiriyama and Oniriyuin. As the former head teacher of Class A, because the class was dropped, she also followed, and her income has been reduced by January 3rd. Students compete with each other, and teachers compete with each other. The most direct manifestation is income. But this kind of thing cannot be changed. Although she is a teacher, she also knows that the current class is hopeless. I can't get promoted at all. But she also hopes there is hope for students. Kiriyama, who was glanced at by the teacher, understood that this sports festival was a hope. Nanyun has already given him 10 million points. But if you can rush to Class A, then you don't need points to get promoted. So, it's a beautiful thing. And here is Class A, Grade 3. Nanyun sat in his seat, and the head teacher began to inform him about the rules of this sports festival. It's a little different from last year. It seems to focus more on personal development. And, maybe, for their graduates. Because what is called a transfer paper, it will still be restricted for use next semester. They will graduate next semester. In other words, if it is not controlled well, this sports festival will become turbulent in the third grade. After all, as long as you get first place, you can rush to Class A. And then finally graduated as Class A. If it is a normal assessment, then you can rush forward. However, there are two places that can rush forward. If it was a boy, he thought he could arrange for Kiriyama to rush forward. In this way, the 10 million points that were previously given to Kiriyama can be taken away. Not a bad thing for Nagamo. As for the girls, if they were from Class B of the third grade, that guy from Kiriyama's class rushed up to them. Then it would be a disaster for Nagamo's class. Because this guy doesn't obey orders at all. So rush forward, the class may have points deducted because of her. He always felt that this sports festival gave him an uneasy feeling. Chapter 308 Shameless, Long Yuan can be the first. Because it is a sports festival for all grades, students from other grades will also compete against each other in team battles. So the whole school is making the same announcement. But this time, unlike the exam on the uninhabited island, there will be no discounts for lower grades. Rather, if it is purely based on sports, then the lower grades have more possibilities. Just like the peak of many people's sports is in the high school entrance examination. Then once you go to college, you become useless. Amasawa-san. And on the original Class B side, Their blackboard display shows the current class rating score. First grade Class A, Utsunomiya Class, 950 points. Grade 1 Class B, Tian's Class, 850 points. Grade 1 Class C, Passenger Class, 610 points. First grade Class D, Nane Senior Class, 50 points. As the original Class A, they have fallen off. But don't forget it. The gap between them and Utsunomiya's class now is only 100 points. As for the exam rules this time, among the grades, the first place class will be rewarded with 100 class evaluation points, the second place class will be rewarded with 50 class evaluation points, the third place class will be awarded 50 points, and the fourth place class will be deducted 150 points. Class evaluation scores. At the same time, as students in Class A, they have an advantage, that is, their overall configuration is very strong. So there are many people who are good at sports. Then, they also have super cheaters they can rely on. Ichika Amasawa. The other party was able to rush to the front row in the uninhabited island exam where so many seniors took the test, although in the end he had to give up due to injury. But now time has passed and her injuries have recovered. At the same time, the super strength she showed in physical education class during this period was surprising. And then it also makes people feel like it could be the secret weapon of the class. So, there is still a chance of winning this exam. If their class can get first or second place, then the current C, no, if Utsunomiya and their class fall to the last place, then can't their class go directly back to Class A? This is an opportunity. So the students in the class became very excited. Certainly. There are also things to consider. That is, the top-ranked student in a grade, regardless of gender, can receive 2 million private points or a class transfer pass. Transfer papers. Although the period is only half a year. But if Amasawa Ichika transfers to another class, wouldn't his class suffer a loss? Everyone has discovered that Tianzi actually likes to play. So this is possible. So, the class representatives decided to do some ideological work for Amasawa Ichika before the start of the sports festival. What? Your own class is the most important, even if you get the transfer ticket and go to your current Class A, it will be useless. And then eventually come back. So once you get the first place, it is best to choose 2 million private points. At the same time, the class will also give certain rewards as praise for contributions.